The stream is running. Now let's see who accepts the stream. Twitch has accepted the stream.
All right.
YouTube has accepted the stream. Let's see if Facebook accepts the stream. Facebook has accepted the stream.
All right.
Now, Vicky always wants me to post it on the Western New York Peace Center website, so I'm going to do that now.
Mm-hmm.
Is that on there every week on the Peace Center?
Yeah.
Is it really?
It'll either be like a rerun or some of the new shows. We got a new show coming after this one too.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
I usually try to share it.
Yeah.
You know, get more people out there.
Do you need my email to share it? Do you need my...
Well, I have your email, but
Okay.
we'll be talking about some of the platforms that they're on if you want to go and visit and share it on your
Okay.
page if you have like a Facebook.
I don't.
No.
I was...
Well, then we could always share the
Peg can
link.
do
I can
it.
email it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it is on the Western New York Peace Center page.
All
Shall we
right.
begin?
Yes.
Now, you see the timer on the screen? It has a number 5.
Mhm.
Right?
When it says on the air, you are on the air. Okay?
All right. Thank you.
Here we go. Oh, we like to start up a backup recorder just in case. Do we have any technical problems? We have a second copy. Okay, backup is running. Here we go.
I had time to move everything.
All right, we are on air. Welcome to Talking Peace with the Western New York Peace Center. I am your host, Ladaisha Williams. I don't think I got to say that last time. I want to give a couple of shout outs before we get to our amazing guest today. We are here in the studio at Think Twice Radio with Richard. Big shouts out to Richard for being here with us today. Shouts out to our family over at Buff State at WBNY Radio. If you guys ever want to tune in, it's 91.3 FM. And also thank you to our viewers, listeners out there. And thank you to our guests for coming. Let me get right into it. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about the Western New York Peace Center and the dinner. And today with us, we have Wayne Alt, an amazing part of the Western New York history. We're going to get into that. And also a Lifetime Achiever awardee from back in 2012. We also have Cariol Horne here of Cariol's Law and the Cariol Horne's Whistleblower Fund here, as well as the Altimate activist named after Mr. Alt here award in 2021, which was actually the same year that I got my award, the Emerging Leaders Award. So welcome, you guys. Thank you so much for coming on.
For having me.
Absolutely. So before we jump into it, I do want to just take a little step back. One part that I did skip, we always like to do here at the Peace Center is give land acknowledgements. Now, I'm not Miss Vicky, she does it the best, but typically we like to let it be known that we are on stolen land here, the Haudenosaunee, Seneca land. This was their land first, and so we like to always acknowledge that. Also by giving thanks to our natural elements, almost everything in between, sun, moon, air, water, grass. I even go as far as saying animals. I'm telling you, you just got to be thankful for the life around us. So I just want to take some time out to say that. But let's jump right into it. So, like I said, today's topic is going to be about the Western New York Peace Center and the dinners. We have two amazing awardees here. Let me go back here and pull something up. So let's just start off by talking about our values. We all have some type of relationship with the Western New York Peace Center, some longer than others. Cariol, what are some of your values when it comes to the Peace Center when you think about us?
I think of peace, number one, and also, love, Vicky always does this. um, when I think of the Peace Center, I just think of a loving group who wants to have peace around the world.
Yeah. All right. And what about you, Wayne?
Yes, I grew up in a peaceful church, and I think I got a lot of my training from the pastors of those churches, and just the atmosphere at the church was always very peaceful. And running for political office, some of the people from the church, which was very interesting,
Yeah.
with a progressive agenda. And then slowly but surely, we found out that the pastors were very strong in training young men and women to be conscientious objectors
Okay.
to the war. It started in World War II. One of the gentlemen, in fact, was West Seneca. He's passed away, but he was the first one. And then we had 10 to 12 more COs during the other wars too. Myself, I was a conscientious objector during the Korean War. So I did my alternative service and my obligation to helping people.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. I mean, when I think about the Western New York Peace Center, which I've been a part of, I would say just in relationship with since like 2009, we were talking about it, right? When I did the Peace Jam program. When I think about the Peace Center, I think of so many different aspects. I feel like the Peace Center can touch at least one value of every person, like within the things that we believe in here, the things that we fight for. I think it's just so broad and amazing. Anybody can kind of find their place here at the Western New York Peace Center. So I really value that they have a space for almost anybody. So yeah, thanks for sharing. I kind of want to jump right into how we are connected. So I mentioned that I came from the Peace Jam program. Have you guys ever heard of the Peace Jam program?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was a part of it back in like 2009. I think I was in like 8th grade. It was amazing. A whole bunch of children from different schools and local. We got together. We kind of came up with a strategy on what we wanted to focus on. So I remember one of them, if my memory is serving me right, was recycling. We wanted to work on recycling, cleaning up the environment, and so we collected bottles and things like that. We got to go to Connecticut and meet like one of the Peace Prize laureates. It was honestly amazing. It was a great experience, and I think traveling is important. So that's what started my relationship with the Western New York Peace Center, and it's honestly, I have 1,000 stories, but I'll just leave it there. Where did you guys start with the Western New York Peace Center?
I could go back to the year that we did start that program, which was the late 80s, under the help of Audrey Mang. The director was her husband, James Mang. And in the late 80s, we talked about going to the Board of Education and being able to enter some of the schools with conflict resolution programs.
Right.
And to train children, which I think they need now. And in fact, after all of these gun deaths, I suggested to congressmen and governors to instigate conflict resolution program in the schools. That's what I think is very helpful to let people at least talk to each other and not raise conflict or use a gun or use anything that's going to hurt somebody else. It's very important. So we were glad that got started, and it was a wonderful program. And hopefully it'll keep going. I want it to keep going.
True.
Yeah.
And what about you, Cariol? When did you start your relationship with the Peace Center?
I'm not even sure what year it was, but I'm sure that it was with protesting. And with Vicky, we went to God knows how many protests together. That's probably how I got started with the Peace Center. I couldn't tell you what year because it's been so many years, but Yes, probably protesting.
And you said probably protesting, so it'd probably be a stretch for me to ask you, what were you protesting at the time? Do you
Uh,
remember?
it is a stretch, but it was probably police brutality because that is what I focus on. But it's no telling because I also was with other groups for whatever they were working on, so it could have been
Multiple
any.
things.
Hmm.
Right, but I feel you on that police brutality part. Knowing your story, and where you came from, how hard you fought, how long you fought, the things that you've put into play, which I would hope to talk about a lot of that today too. I really always had an eye on you. I'm like, look at Cariol doing her thing. I don't know if she knows who I am, so I'll just wave from over here. But hey, I definitely am a fan. Okay, so got some deep connections with the Peace Center, of course. I know that you were the recipient of the Ultimate Activist Award. We'll get to the name in a minute. That year, I believe you weren't at the dinner because you were also doing something else really important that day. But what was it going on around that time when you got that award?
I was getting another award also in Washington, and I had already had travel plans and everything. So my son showed up to get the award for me.
Oh yeah, I remember that. And he got on that stage and he spoke. He didn't hold back. He really spoke. It was amazing. So how did it feel to get the award? I know that you said that you were in the midst of getting another one in Washington, but do you remember like what action pieces you were a part of, maybe locally at the time, that probably helped to put you in a spotlight for that position? For the award, like, I'm pretty sure you were being recognized for a lot around that time.
Well, first of all, I am about peace. I never wanted to um, get the. I think I got a bad reputation for standing up for the right thing, and I think that the Peace Center recognized that what I was doing. I wanted to make sure that officers were able to intervene,
Hmm.
able to intervene if there was another incident like the one that I prevented. Um, the one that should have been prevented in George Floyd's case.
Hmm.
Is had they recognized what I had did, then it would have been okay for officers to intervene. But because they still to this day make it seem as if I did something wrong, um, well, here in Buffalo, not everywhere else, then there needs to be a solution throughout the country. It should be a national law. Cariol's law should be a national law. But because I really couldn't tell you why. It boggles my mind of why um, there there is a solution and people just won't understand that there's nothing bad about making sure that an officer is protected if they protect someone who's being harmed.
For those of us, or those of the viewers that may not know exactly what Cariol's law consists of, would you mind breaking it down for us, what it is?
It's the duty to intervene. There's 6 components to it, but the main part is the duty to intervene, which needs to be a national law.
I agree. I definitely agree. And had we implemented it here in Buffalo already?
We do have it in Buffalo, but it needs to be nationwide because if someone leaves the Buffalo Police Department and goes to California,
Hmm.
it's not there. Um, they have policies now for duty to intervene.
Hmm.
There was actually a policy here, but nobody was using it. So that's why I felt like it needed to be a law, because then a good officer can say to a bad officer, well, I'm not going to jail for you. That's a law. That was the purpose of making it a law.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that you're saying that there was already something there that just wasn't being reinforced, because I'm on the outside, and we hear all types of things. I don't know whether to take it serious or not because we're just hearing it. I'm not on the force myself, but we hear things like bro code and, cops code. And, I feel like something like Cariol's law is really there to protect those individuals that are in those places that need it, especially if something like that does exist where people are afraid to speak up against each other. And clearly in a situation that happened with you, it was needed back then, right? So thanks for, yeah. What were you going to say?
Exactly.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Like, thanks for pushing to get it, started here. And I know that the fight is ongoing to get it everywhere else, as many places as we can. So I'm definitely pushing for that with you. I like it. Okay. And now, Wayne, you got the Lifetime Achiever Award back in 2012. How was that? What were you doing around the time?
Just about that time, we started a task force at the Peace Center called the Latin America Solidarity Committee, working with people in Latin America who were very, very poor and how we could help them. So we created some organizations that had an office in El Salvador, Nicaragua, Venezuela, Colombia, and we did help the people manage to get by more and more. Now, the one very negative thing that's happened with the Biden administration is the sanction law, which any country that maybe votes a little left or socialist, they are being mistreated by sanctions. In other words, U.S. would not buy products, would not buy farm products, would not buy any other product, and intimidate other countries to do the same. And that was very hurtful. Now, we know that Venezuela has a lot of oil, and most of the immigrants that are coming now to the country are probably because losing their jobs in the oil area. But
Right.
there is farmers, too, that we need to be concerned with. In fact, I talked to the Rural and Migrant Ministry of New York State, and they're working on it, too. So we're trying to get that message out to the public. Just a comment about the present situation in the Middle East. We got some good news this morning. The trucks from Egypt with food on it and water on it are getting into Gaza with that food, and that's very good. And all the time, if you watch television closely, there are actions all over the United States. Student action, church action, young people's action, and organizations that are against the war in the Middle East. And more and more, I think we will see more of those groups coming together. The sophistication of weaponry is just terrible, and the escalation of more weapons is not going to help people. And many people are against this now.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can get some changes in our government and our leadership in Congress, too.
True. Well, if being at that, you started off talking about the work that you were doing around that time back in 2012 when you got that award, even bringing it up to now and current events. I can tell you've been working on this for over a decade. I mean, man, you've been in this for the long run.
We try to encourage speakers that come to the States and want to get the message out. We try to contact them and make sure. So there's kind of a circle of agreement that we have with these different urban areas, getting the speaker to speak and having the American public know more about the situation in Latin America.
I think it's great that even just getting a hold of them and having them willing to come over here, that's amazing. Right. Because there's so much going on. How do you pay attention to everything? I was telling you earlier, like it's so much going on here in Buffalo, in our own city. I'm always scrambling to find out the next thing that's going on. I want to make sure I'm included. Like, I want to know I know that there's no such thing as you never have to really reinvent anything. You just go back and look, so I just want to make sure I always scan who's doing this good work, because, oh my goodness. So for you to be outside of Buffalo, and I think that's amazing. Absolutely. Another thing I wanted to bring up, we said we would get to it. The Ultimate Activist Award is named after you. Wayne Alt. And I think not a lot of people bring it up, but I brought it up one time. I said Alt, A-L-T, Ultimate. And I was like, something is up with that word. I'm not sure if we spelled it right. And Miss Vicky's like, oh no, we did that on purpose. That's our guy. She really holds you to high. She's like, yeah, that's our guy right there. You've been with us from the beginning. Riverside Salem Church. Talk to us about that.
Yes, when Reverend Kenneth Sherman, a Lutheran pastor, came to my mother and dad and said, I'd like to start some type of peace organization here in Western New York.
Mm-hmm.
And they agreed. My mother agreed to be the treasurer. And we made the Peace Center under the sponsorship of Riverside Salem. So, our church was always out there trying to create a peaceful society here in the Western New York and also in the world. So people could join the church and become very active in the Peace Center. And slowly but surely, the Peace Center grew. And I think some years during the 80s, we got up to 250 members at one time, which was very great at that time. And we continue, as you say, I'm an activist, but I continue to look at the importance of contacting Congresspeople, Congressman Brian Higgins, on his constant vote to increase the military budget, as Gillibrand, as Schumer. And if people would please contact those offices and let them know we don't want to spend all our money on how to hurt and kill people. This is wrong. This is not right.
True. I think that's amazing that you bring that up because the Western New York Peace Center has been waging war since the 1960s, and that's everything that we do right there. We promote peace and justice at home and abroad in our youth and our community. We challenge our power structures to work for the common good, and that's everything that you're talking about now. Like, that's what we do. We met Cariol during a protest. We're in there. I love it. And I think it's just amazing. I'm glad that I was able to meet you because you've been a major part since the beginning, the first church that joined the Western New York Peace Center. That's amazing to me. Thank you for going into that. Have you guys attended any? Have you guys attended the last? So we were in 2021. Did you guys come to the Leah Penniman dinner in 22 last year?
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah. How was the experience? I was there too. But
Oh, that was wonderful. It was at the University of Buffalo on the campus, and that was quite a large crowd we had, and there's very good questions. She talked about farm workers. She talked about immigrants, which was a very sensitive area, and still is.
Right.
And, if people can get involved in some of the immigration organizations here in Buffalo, that would be wonderful if people have got involved and supported some of the things that they're doing here in Buffalo.
True. Cariol, did you get a chance to come to the dinner last year? I know you're such a busy person.
Oh, no, I didn't. But I was when he was speaking about the war, I wanted to say that I just left Israel, and the day that the bombing started, we had just pulled up to the airport, and to hear the bombs and to see them going off, it was a scary moment. And I agree that war is not the answer. So I'm going back to what he was saying, because it was a scary moment for me, but I wasn't a victim. The victims are in Gaza who were bombed and then bombed again, and over and over again. And it's great that, because I heard that the border had opened for them to get food, but to be there and to see the conditions that they were living in, it was deplorable. I'm not saying that Hamas should have did what they did, because obviously all of this destruction and lives being lost, and it's sad. But they were living in conditions where they were saying that they are a the largest open jail in the world. Um, the walls were there. The actually take it back to, this is before I was even born, when they had the white and black fountains. That is how it is there with the apartheid. So I couldn't let you go ahead and talk about the dinner. I'm sorry, because that was just on my mind, about the conditions that were going on over there. And then what do you do when you're backed into a corner? You have a fight or flight response. And that's what Hamas did, which was sad for everyone else that died and that's been affected by it right now. But in that case, what did you do?
True. And it's fine that you're bringing it up. I didn't even mean to jump over it if that's what happened, because it is an important situation. It's very current. It's going on every day. When I turn the news on, I see it. Those pictures are really crazy. To know that you were at the airport and heard all of that, that experience, I just couldn't even imagine. Honestly, it sounds devastating. And
Made me a
definitely, what'd you say?
God made me a witness so that I can come back and talk about what I saw.
Good.
And you said you're planning on going back.
I didn't say that, but I would go back.
Oh, I was wondering. I was like, did you say?
Yeah, I didn't say not right now, but
Right.
because I really wish that I could go back to help, but we have so many issues here, So.
Yeah, I think the decisions or just like time, energy. I get it when you say we got so much going on here. To be everywhere at once is like, almost impossible. But
There's
our
a Jewish group in Washington, and I must have looked at their video 1,000 times. I mean, of course, not that many times, but it's a Jewish group that's calling for a ceasefire that are in Washington now. And that was like a beautiful scene
Exactly.
to
Right.
see that.
It does sound beautiful, because we've worked on our own ceasefire. I've heard of that term so many times. So the people are definitely in tune. I hope that something good comes out of it, of course.
Yeah, but they're standing up for Palestine, which was awesome.
Right,
Exactly.
right. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, thanks for all the information. I'm really not up on everything like I should be, but this is the place right now, and we got time, to talk about it, of course. Okay, let me go on to our next. So we talked about some dinners that we attended, the experience, some speakers. I know we had Bishop Gumbleton was here, who's a very progressive bishop. Who works against nuclear weapons and things
Right.
like that. He was a speaker the year that you were here, Wayne. And then we had Mark Colville in 2021. He was a part of he is an Amistad Catholic worker. He was a part of the Kings Bay Plowshare 7, also working against nuclear weapons. It really got tough for them because, a lot of people were arrested in the midst of fighting. And, I mean, you kind of see it happen oftentimes. People really will go hard. They fight hard for what they believe in, and I think that that's really admirable. Like, I really admire things like that, honestly. So we have our upcoming dinner coming, November 10th, and I wanted to just talk a little bit about that. So we've got Rima Vesley Flack coming. She's a professor at Union Theological Seminary. She's an author and mother. She's going to be speaking on certain practices in collective liberation, social justice, and activism. So I'm looking forward to that. At every Western New York Peace Center annual dinner, we always have a profound person come and speak. We give away great awards to our local leaders here. And I just really want to recognize what the Western New York Peace Center has been doing for years. For this to be the 56th annual anniversary is amazing. I haven't been to every single dinner, but I've been to a few, and they're amazing. Well, we did talk about what you guys were doing around the time that you got the awards. Back in 2021, when I got the Emerging Leaders Award, I had just happened to be in an Emerging Leaders program. I was going through training here in Buffalo. It was through Open Buffalo. And I did it because I seen so many great leaders here go through the same training, and I'm like, I look up to these people. I'm interested in getting into the same work. So what are they doing? You know, how do I get close? How do I learn? And so I was in there. I got in to the training. I was doing some work with the Urban League at the time. I was probably the community service chair. Yeah. I played like 2 different parts there. So, but at the time, community service chair. And Miss Vicky called me up and she's like, "Hey, you know what? I'm considering you for da da da. We're considering you." And I was just like, "That's so amazing. I never won anything like that outside of school, you know, student of the month or anything like that." And I look at all these awards, the 30 under 30s, 40 under 40s, and I didn't even know that there wasn't a Emerging Leaders Award. So I was just like, "Thank you so much." I probably cried on the phone, you know, but it was just an amazing experience. And then the following year, when Leah Penniman came, I was able to give Yenenoi the Emerging Leaders Award. She was a Native American activist who's done amazing work, been in so many different things, started her own, works out here. And I look forward to, speaking to her soon. But I mean, just being that we were brought together through the Peace Center, recognized, I think it's just amazing. So I'm really looking forward to this year's dinner speaker.
Just a comment about the indigenous, the Peace Center together with Aggie Williams got the speaker from, I think it was from Arizona, about burial grounds and how the government has taken that area over, and the indigenous are trying to get it back because there are burial grounds, spiritual burial grounds, and they want it back. And the last 2 months, Sojourners and another national magazine had a nice article about him testifying in Washington. So we experienced him here in Buffalo, and then he went to Washington and testified there too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's really awesome. Okay. Well, yeah. I do want to let the viewers know specifics. I did say November 10th, but it's going to be between 5 and 9 that day at the McCoy Center, 653 Clinton Street.
Good.
If you want more information on how to attend the dinner or just get in with the Western New York Peace Center, always visit us at WNYPeace.org. I always say Western New York out there. If you're checking out our Twitter or Insta, it's always at WNY Peace. And then, WNYPeace.org/56th annual dinner. You can find more information on that there. So, yeah, we got some time. Do you guys plan on coming?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'll be there. Yeah. I just want, can we share this for everybody, the telephone numbers of the Congress people? So that people who want to contact Congressman Higgins and Senator Gillibrand and Schumer, they will, because they are the ones who are continually raise money for the Defense Department. We're close to 60%. Every individual is paying for their federal income tax, and it's going to the military. It's just terrible. I mean, it's killing people. It's a shame.
Literally killing people.
Yep.
And that's also with the police departments also. The budget is going up, up, up. And one politician said to me, well, the police, the city police is the mayor's army. And so he wants to fund them pretty well. And I mean, that makes sense, but why would you feel like you needed to have your police officers, your army? Just engage with the people.
Exactly.
The people want to hurt you. Yeah, that that is a lot. And also, there's a connection with the Israeli military.
Mm-hmm.
They have been training our police officers. So that's why it's a big push to stop Cop City in Georgia, because the police officers are basically been militarized.
Wow, yeah.
So we have to fight against that, because we'll be like Israel. Like, if our police officers are being trained by their military, tell me why our police officers not being trained by our military, even though they should not be trained by either.
No.
The point is, there's something going on, and we're in for something. So
It
we need
does
to
make sense, right?
Cariol, do you think contacting the governor of New York, Hochul, about trying to instigate conflict resolution programs in all the schools, make it mandated that children are exposed to that conflict is not working. You can talk things out and not hurt people, And I just wondered, is that Papa's group, is it Father's group or Papa's group still active in Buffalo? Was Grandfathers or something
Oh,
like
fathers.
yeah.
Fathers.
Are they still active or what? Well, I don't know.
the Papa's group. He said the Papa's group. Yeah, the Father's group is active. They were working at a school over off of Brighter. My kids, they went to Montessori, and they learned conflict resolution, where they would give them the peace rock.
Right.
And who had the rock, they were able to speak. If you didn't have the rock, you weren't able to speak, which meant that you had to listen to the person that had the rock. And it worked out really well. It worked out because they did know how to calm situations down. Actually, we probably need that in our police departments.
One mic. No. That's what the rock situation reminds me of.
Yeah, one mic. It was one mic.
I mean, I agree, and I think a lot of people think about it and just don't discuss it. I wonder to myself a lot: is there any conflict resolution training? Because, the worst word, for lack of word, that I was using in my own head was like, why don't they have any customer service? Like, and I know that's the wrong word, but customer service meaning like the people that you're serving, like. Why are you so snobby in some cases? And it's not everybody. It's really not. But the certain you're the position that you hold is so important. You really shouldn't be treating anybody like you wouldn't want to be treated. What'd you say?
Are you talking about police officers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. They definitely need to learn how to de-escalate. Actually. I mean, I was taught that your mind is your greatest weapon.
Mm-hmm.
But, some people don't want to take time out because they look at people as being less than. And if you think that somebody is less than you, you feel like you don't have to give them respect, then you don't. And that was going on a lot in the police department. It goes on a lot now,
Wow.
period, with people who think they are above everyone else.
Yeah.
That's true. That is true. And that's why I like to point out, like, everybody's not like that. And I don't experience anything, I haven't experienced anything that bad, like, in my personal life. I think my homegirl, she got locked out of her car one day, and we were out there for about an hour trying to get in. So some nice guys that were just hanging out, they tried to help us. We seen, like, this cop car ride by. They didn't have to help us, of course, but, we're like, hey, help us. And they were just laughing. They kept it pushing. There was a second group of officers that pulled, and I was like, hey, please help us, please. At this time, I'm just like saying anything, like, we'll tell Byron that you helped us, like, just please help us. And they actually stopped, and they got us in our car in under 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And I told them, like, I'm going to give you guys a huge shout out. And I did give them a shout out on Facebook, and I tagged the police department because, like, this is what that was amazing. They didn't have to do it, but this is what we like to see.
Yeah,
That
right.
first car of officers that just laughed and kept it pushing.
Sure.
I don't know what type of energy that
Yeah.
was. But yeah. I like conflict resolution is important.
So do you think we can start up a conflict resolution committee or get some maybe retired teachers to say, I want to join that program and I'll help, go into the schools and talk to kids. Is that,
yeah.
is that
Yeah.
possible? I mean, can we
Everything's
work
possible.
on that? Yeah.
If you believe it, you can achieve it. Remember?
True. I like the way you just started talking about actual action pieces. Like, this is how we're going to do it. We're going for the teachers.
Well, retired, they got the time they could put in. They're used to working with kids, and it might be helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, I still have my ear out there on social media, and I see certain posts where there are officers in the neighborhood playing basketball with kids. There are officers just stopping by, checking up on. There are people out there doing great things. I
Right.
think we definitely need to push the good. I haven't seen anything bad recently. I will say that I really haven't. It's been a minute. During the pandemic, it was really bad, just all over the place, and I just couldn't understand it. But now I say that we're in an okay space for what I know right now. I don't know everything.
Yeah, someone sent me a video the other day of some officers beating on a woman here in Buffalo. That was the first that I saw in a while. So I think that they may have had some type of training because I hadn't heard of it in a while. I will hear things every now and then, but that was a video that was sent to me probably 2 days ago since I've been back.
Oh, yeah. So then, I mean, with stuff like that surfacing nowadays, it would be cool to look into some conflict resolution and getting some people on that bandwagon. Absolutely.
Well, that's training for the officers. But I don't know what the situation was before they started videotaping, but it was a woman and there were more than one officer. So I would think that they could have handled that situation a little better.
Right. And that would be something that the Peace Center could definitely play a huge part in, starting off or, what's the word I'm looking for? Spearheading some conflict resolution. We're in a lot of different boats right now. I think on our last show we talked about the how we're involved in the No New Jails group, which is also a part of the Free the People campaign or group. I think that that's amazing, working with incarcerated individuals, informing our people out here of the rights that incarcerated individuals do have. There's a lot of things that I'm learning now that I didn't know. I didn't know that some incarcerated individuals have the right to vote. I wonder if there's some individuals who don't even know their own rights.
Yeah.
Well, I never knew that. So we need to talk about that.
Yeah, we can talk about it. I'm learning a lot of new things lately, and I'm just like, wow, this is important. We got to get this out to the people because, just like I said, the Western New York Peace Center can kind of touch almost anybody in a way. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who know somebody who's incarcerated, has a family member that's incarcerated, or probably has been incarcerated themselves. And so things like these topics are definitely important for us to be knowledgeable about and be up to date on.
How open is a police? Is it police benefit league or something like open to something like this, where get a group of policemen to kind of lead the others to conflict resolution for them? Is that possible at all? Is that doable?
Probably within the training. So you would probably have to speak to probably somebody in City Hall. I think the training is through Erie County, so
Right.
we have to speak to someone there about that. And they probably are giving them some sort of training, but not everybody is going to adhere to that training.
Sure.
So there has to be a little more training for some people.
Right.
True.
But I think that it would be great if the Peace Center was a part of that, because at least they know you're coming at them with peace and tranquility rather than to just say everything that they're doing wrong.
Well, I mean, holding the powers that be accountable, of course. Um,
Mhm.
I know we kind of got a little bit away from this topic, but you did say, Wayne, that you wanted me to put the viewers on to encouraging them to contact their Congressman Higgins, and basically tell them to stop raising the defense budget. And you had chimed in, Cariol, with the police budget as well. But some numbers that we have here that you could call would be 716-852-3501. We also have Senator Gillibrand here that you can actually express the same to, 716-854-9725. And Senator Schumer, 202-224-6542. Basically, we're encouraging you to contact them, let them know, stop raising the defense budget. It's getting out of hand.
Taken away from our health program. That's what
Yeah.
it's doing.
I mean, I definitely have to do my research.
Yeah.
Because what is going into our health program?
Exactly.
We need something going on. And from what I hear, we've got this something going on with our farmers and the people in our rural areas who are fighting for more health care or, just more
Exactly.
health places out
Yeah.
there. It's hard. They're not really close to the city. I hear that they age a little different than those in the city, and it's really important to get health care out there to them. So
The Niagara Falls Gazette did a study of Niagara Falls, Ontario versus Niagara Falls, New York.
yeah,
And the people residing in New York State pay 50% more than the residents of Niagara Falls, Ontario. I mean, they did a study. It was very well done about 4 years ago. Yeah. So,
Yeah, well, a lot of things don't make sense. But I guess the way they look at it is if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. But
right.
for us, we have a lot of issues because of the lack of money. But then they turn around and give foreign countries billions of dollars for whatever. But yet we can't get millions of dollars
exactly.
for what we need.
Right.
There's a disconnect, and a lot of our people that we elected need to go.
I agree.
I'm getting into it now. I'm learning. I've seen some interviews and wow, we knew these people were coming. Did they tell us something just to get in there and then start acting a fool when they
Yeah,
got in
right.
office?
It's money.
Yeah.
So before I close out, I just want to ask you guys: do we have any, last minute remarks or any comments on today's session? Anything going on that you guys just want to put out there for our viewers and listeners?
Well, I want to say just call for peace, for ceasefire, and also come to the Peace Center dinner because it's very important, and to keep the membership up because they're doing a great job.
I want to thank you for being such a good moderator, and also to continue, maybe some of the task forces would like to speak. Latin America Task Force.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Veterans of War that we have in the Peace Center.
Right.
Veterans Against the War.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. Reverse. I'm sorry. I said reverse militarism. No,
Right.
resist militarism. I got you.
Right. And there's a little small environmental group, too, that monitored the railroads here in New York State, found out a lot of chemicals were being taken through our cities, through our neighborhoods, and nothing was done about it. And then about 2 years after, Ohio had that terrible spill. I mean, it burned most of the city down. And here we had a member of the Peace Center who worked on this constantly and communicated with Washington, with the safety organizations, that this is happening in New York State. That's important too,
Well, thank you for the shout out. I really appreciate that. I appreciate both of you guys coming on the show here today. Not only as awardees at past dinners, but just as amazing people in our community who do amazing work, like truly on the ground, outside the city, outside the country. You guys are really going at it, powerhouses. I really appreciate you guys, admire you guys. And once again, I just want to say to our viewers and listeners, these are the type of issues that the Western New York Peace Center has always worked on. We always cared about peace. We've been waging war since the 60s, and we love to encourage our youth, our community, just everyday people to fight for good and actually be a part of it, because numbers matter, people matter. You can make a difference in these different topics. And like Cariol said, please come to the dinner. Get to meet some of our amazing members, keep our membership rolling, stay informed on what we have going on. Visit our website, WNYpeace.org, to learn more. Come and attend a dinner. Thank you for watching, and you all have a good one.
Thank you.